Hi and welcome back to my channel. I am Teeny Crochets and today I'll be showing you how to crochet Peter and Paul. You may know them as the two little dicky birds. So get your crochet hooks at the ready and let's get going. To make our birds, I'm going to begin by making their wings and their tails. So I'm going to be using yellow double knit yarn, yellow DK yarn, and a 3.5mm hook. So as always, I'm going to begin with a slip knot onto hook and I'm going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now into the second chain from hook, so we're going to ignore the first chain, and into the second chain I'm going to do 1 single crochet. Into the next chain I'm going to do a half double crochet. Into the next chain I'm going to do 1 double crochet. Into the next chain another half double crochet. And into the last chain of this round I'm going to do 3 single crochets, all into the same chain space. So 1, 2 and 3. Next I'm going to rotate my work, so I'm going to be working along the opposite side of our foundation stitches. So we're going to be working on the bottom of all the stitches we've just made. So into the next stitch I'm going to do a half double crochet. Followed by a double crochet into the next stitch. Followed by a half double crochet into the next stitch, and into the last stitch of this round I'm going to do 2 single crochets. So to finish off I'm going to do a slip stitch into the first stitch of this round, and that's to join, and then I'm going to chain 1 and cut my yarn, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a longer tail because I'll use this tail to join the wing to my bird in a little bit. So there is 1 wing. We now need to go make another 3 because we're going to be making 2 birds and each bird will have 2 wings. So there's 1 wing, now you need to make another 3. Next, to make the bird's beak, so I'll be using orange yarn this time. I'm going to start with a slip knot onto my hook and I'm going to chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now I'm going to single crochet into the second chain from hook and into all other chains across. So we'll have 4 single crochets. Chain 1 and turn my work. So we have 4 stitches and I'm going to reduce them to 2. So I'm going to single crochet the first 2 stitches together. So I'm going to single crochet 2 stitches together. And then I'm going to single crochet the last 2 stitches together. So we now have 2 stitches, chain 1 and turn my work, and now I'm going to single crochet these 2 stitches together to make 1 stitch. I'm going to do that again, got my yarn caught. So single crochet 2 stitches together, then chain 1 and cut my yarn. Now with this yarn tail I'm going to pop that onto an embroidery needle, then I'm going to fold my beak in half with the yarn tail at the tip of the beak. And I'm going to sew these 2 sides together to make that larger triangle into a smaller triangle. There we go. So there is 1 beak. You need to make 2 of these, so go and make another one for our second bird, and I'll just pop this aside until we need it later. Next, for the legs, I'm going to be using the same coloured yarn as I used for the beak. And I'm going to slip knot onto my hook and I'm going to chain 20. So 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20. And again, I'm going to cut my yarn already, leaving a little bit of a tail. And this is going to end up being the bird's legs. We're going to fold it in half and they're going to be sticking out the bottom of the bird as two different legs. But I want to put a little bead on the end of each of these legs. So I have picked 4 beads, 4 silver beads, and I have, hopefully, a needle that will fit through the beads. Perfect. So I'm going to pop the yarn ends of my legs onto my embroidery needle, and I'm going to thread a bead onto each side. And when the bead's in place, I'm just going to put a knot or a couple of knots at the very bottom of the bead. To secure into place, and then I can cut this yarn tail. I'm going to do that on both sides of the leg. Next, I'm going to make the bird's eyes. So with black DK yarn, I'm going to cut 2 lengths per bird. So that's about 6 or 7 inches. So we need 4 altogether. Then I'm going to take each piece of yarn and I'm going to knot it in the middle of the yarn. So we create a small little ball. I'm now going to re-knot this same knot about 4 more times. So I'm going to tie another knot on top of the first knot I made, and then another knot, so the ball's getting bigger each time, another one, and then one last knot. So altogether that was 4 knots, and that is how I'm going to make the bird's eyes. So you want to make 2 of these for each bird. So we've got most of our bird's parts created. We've done the legs, the wings and the beak. So the last 2 things we've got left to do is the body and the tail. So for the body, I'm going to be using a bluish teal colour, and I'm going to start with a slip knot onto hook. And remember, you're going to make 2 of these for 2 different birds. So I'm going to begin with a chain 2, 1 and 2. And into the second chain from hook, I'm going to do 6 single crochets. 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. For the next round, I'm going to increase from 6 stitches to 12. To do that, I'm going to do 2 single crochets into every stitch. So into the first stitch, I'm going to single crochet for 1 and 2. Into the second stitch, single crochet for 3 and 4. Into the next stitch, I'm going to single crochet for 5 and 6. Into the next, 7 and 8. Into the next, 9 and 10. And into the last stitch of this round, I'm going to single crochet for 11 and 12. So we now have 12 stitches, and for the next round I'm going to increase to 18. To do that, I'm going to single crochet into 1 stitch and then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch, and I'm going to do that 6 times. So I'm going to single crochet for 1 and then increase in the next stitch for 2 and 3. Single crochet 4, increase in the next stitch for 5 and 6. Single crochet 7, increase in the next stitch for 8 and 9. Single crochet 10, increase in the next stitch for 11 and 12. Single crochet 13, increase in the next stitch for 14 and 15. Single crochet 16 and increase in the last stitch of this round for 17 and 18. So for our next round, we're going to increase to 24 stitches. To do that, I'm going to single crochet into 2 stitches and then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times. So single crochet, 1 and 2. Increase in the next stitch for 3 and 4. Single crochet 5, 5 and 6. Increase in the next stitch for 7 and 8. Single crochet 9 and 10. Increase in the next for 11 and 12. Single crochet 13 and 14. Increase in the next stitch for 15 and 16. Single crochet 17 and 18. Increase for 19 and 20. Single crochet 21, 22. And increase in the last stitch of this round for 23 and 24. So we have 24 stitches. We're going to increase again to 30. So to increase to 30 stitches, I'm going to single crochet into 3 stitches and then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times. So single crochet for 1, 2 and 3. Then I'm going to increase in the next stitch for 4 and 5. Single crochet 6, 7 and 8. Increase in the next stitch for 9 and 10. Single crochet 11, 12 and 13. Increase in the next stitch for 14 and 15. Single crochet 16, 17 and 18. Increase in the next stitch for 19 and 20. Single crochet 21, 22 and 23. Increase in the next stitch for 24 and 25. Single crochet 26, 27, 28 and increase in the last stitch for 29 and 30. So we have our 30 stitches and we're going to increase again to 36. To do that, I'm going to single crochet into 4 stitches and then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times. So I'm going to single crochet for 1, 2, 3 and 4. Increase in the next stitch for 5 and 6. Single crochet 7, 8, 9 and 10. Increase in the next stitch for 11 and 12. Single crochet 13, 14, 15 and 16. Increase in the next stitch for 17 and 18. Single crochet 19, 20, 21, 22. Increase in the next stitch for 23 and 24. Single crochet 25, 26, 27, 28. Increase in the next stitch for 29 and 30. And then single crochet for 31, 32, 33, 34 and increase in the next stitch for 35 and 36. So we're going to increase again from 36 stitches to 42. To do that, I'm going to single crochet into 5 stitches and then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times. So we're going to single crochet for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Increase in the next stitch for 6 and 7. Single crochet 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Increase in the next stitch for 13 and 14. Single crochet 15, 16, 17, 18 and 19. Increase in the next stitch for 20 and 21. Single crochet 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Increase in the next stitch for 27 and 28. Single crochet 29, 30, 31, 32. Just get some more yarn. 33. Increase in the next stitch for 34 and 35. then single crochet 36, 37, 38, 39 and 40, and increase in the last stitch of this round for 41 and 42. So we've only got 2 more rounds of increasing to do. So we've got our 42 stitches, and on the next round we're going to increase to 48. To do that, I'm going to single crochet into 6 stitches and then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times. So I'm going to single crochet for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, increase in the next stitch for 7 and 8. Single crochet 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14, increase in the next stitch for 15 and 16. Single crochet 17, 18, 19 and 20, 21 and 22, increase in the next stitch for 23 and 24. Single crochet 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, increase in the next stitch for 31 and 32. Single crochet 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, an increase in the next stitch for 39 and 40. Single crochet 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, an increase in the last stitch of this round for 47 and 48. Okie doke, so we have 1 more round of increasing, and we're going to go from 48 stitches to 54. To do that, I'm going to single crochet into 7 stitches and then do 2 single crochets into the following stitch 6 times. So I'm going to single crochet for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, increase in the next stitch for 8 and 9. Single crochet 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, increase in the next stitch for 17 and 18. Single crochet 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, increase in the next stitch for 26 and 27. Single crochet 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, increase in the next stitch for 35 and 36. Single crochet for 37, 38, 39 and 40, 41, 42, 43, increase in the next stitch for 44 and 45, and for the last time single crochet for 46, 47, 48, 49 and 50, 51, 52, and into the last stitch of this round we're going to do an increase for stitch number 53 and 54. So I'm going to do a slip stitch into the next stitch, but I'm not going to fasten off. Oh gosh, I need to have a deep breath and a big glass of water after all that number counting, so I'll be right back. So it's time to construct our bed, and this body is going to be folded over like this, and we are going to close it by single crocheting the 2 parts together. But before we do that, we need to add all the components to it. So we need to add the beak, the legs, the eyes and the wings. So where the yarn is still attached, this is going to be where the tail is. So I'm going to fold my bed in half so I can see what I'm working with, and the first thing I want to add are the wings. So I'm going to bring in one of my wings. I'm going to cut this tail off the back, and I'm going to pop it where I want it to be. and I'm going to add a little pin. And now I'm going to sew it into place. Now it doesn't matter what the inside of the work looks like because this is going to be closed over and we're not going to see it. So with my yarn tail, I'm just going to sew this wing into place, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So that is both of the wings on. The next thing I want to add are the legs. So I'm going to open the bird again and I'm going to bring in the legs that we made, fold them in half and place them so they're protruding outside of the bird. Now we want to attach them where the wings are attached so that we don't see any orange yarn when we attach them in the front of our bird. So I'm going to take a little length of orange yarn, and in this centre section I'm just going to attach them. I'm just going to do a couple of the same stitches over the same spot and knot it as well, just to secure them legs into place. But you don't want to take your needle right the way through the work because otherwise you'll see the orange stitches on the opposite side, but the wings are camouflaged in the stitches at the moment. So we only need a couple of stitches. And then we can weave in these tails and trim them off. Next, let's add the eyes. So I'm going to pick some of the round balls that we made earlier, and I'm going to put one of the yarn tails onto my needle and then sew that where I want it to be. And then I'm going to do the same with the other one. And I'm going to do this on both sides of the bird. And on the inside of my work, I'm going to tie a couple of knots to secure. Remember, we're not going to see any of this, so it doesn't need to be uber neat. So a couple of knots, and then I can cut that off. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So at this point, I'm going to close up most of the bird. But remember, I'm going to need to leave about 5 stitches at the bottom open on either side so that my finger can fit in. So I'm going to reattach my hook onto the bird, and I'm going to single crochet this gap closed. So I'm going to go through a stitch on the front and then a stitch on the back, so a stitch on both sides of the work, and then going to complete them with a single crochet. And I'm going to do that all the way around the bird, but I'm going to stop when I get to the bottom where I want my finger to go. So we're just sealing these two sides together. So I'm going to throw a stitch on both sides of the pieces. So I am at the point that I want to leave open. So if I turn my work around, I don't want to close this area now. I want to keep the next 5 stitches open. So if I reattach my yarn, I'm not going to single crochet through both pieces now. I'm just going to single crochet across the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so that's going to enable us to leave a hole in the centre of our work. So on the opposite side, I'm going to count 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and into the 6th stitch on both sides, I'm going to rejoin my work going through both. So I've left a gap in the middle, and now I'm going to finish single crocheting them both together. Okie doke. So the next thing we need to do is attach the beak into the bird. So we don't want to close entirely this hole. We want to leave a tiny bit of room to fit the beak into. So I'm going to single crochet to around there for all my visual people, and then I'm going to fasten off with this yarn, but I'm going to leave a tail, a long tail. So I'm going to change technique now because I'm going to hand sew the rest of this piece together. But what I want to do first is attach this yarn tail onto my embroidery needle. Then I'm going to take the beak and I'm going to pop the beak into this hole that we've left. And I'm going to change techniques because now I'm going to sew it shut with the beak in place. So we're sewing the beak into place whilst closing the rest of this hole together. So I'm going to go forwards and backwards and sew the beak into place whilst closing the hole. When you're all done, weave your yarn tail and cut it off. So now to finish our little guy, we need to do his tail. So with my yellow yarn again, I'm going to slip knot onto my hook and I'm going to insert my hook into any of the stitches at the tail. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop. So there are 2 loops on my hook. Yarn over and pull through a loop. Pull through a loop. So now I'm going to chain 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. And I'm going to slip stitch into the first stitch or the first chain that we made to form a little loop. I'm going to do that another 2 times. So chain 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Let's do that again. 12, 13, 14 and 15. Slip stitch into the first chain again. And now one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. And on this last one, I'm going to slip stitch back into the first stitch that we joined. So the very first chain that we made, I'm going to slip stitch back into that stitch. May as well speak Spanish today, my tongue is all over the place. So slip stitch to join, and I'm going to chain 1 to fasten off. I'm going to cut this yarn, and all I have to do now is to weave in these 2 yarn tails. So weave them in and cut them off. And there you have the completed birds. I really hope you liked this tutorial. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And other than that, I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.